Hey! Oh, one of the best things in getting a big friend as our guest to our podcast is we can chill now. We can relax now. And we can speak in English.
What does that mean, big friend?
Well, you did save my life. So you're that big of a friend.
We'll have to tell him how we did that. What happened there?
What happened there? So I'm with Mr. Danny Boy, aka Leo Gaming. Are you Leo Gaming or Leo? Actually, those are the tags. Leo Gaming is the name of the Facebook page that I've had for close to 10 years, I think. Yeah.
And then LeoCast is the whole URL. It's the @ on X. It's the @ on Instagram. So yeah, LeoCast PH. But
okay.
Leo is good. Dan also.
Yeah, of course. But okay, so we already introed with life saving. Which is crazy. One thing that I do want to set up for this entire podcast, for this episode specifically, is Leo is a fan of lore for the longest time.
Yeah.
For any kind of lore, gaming lore.
What are we if not for our lore?
Exactly. That's why I want to discuss some of the real lore that happened between casters too, and of course with the common esports title that we share, that we have, which is MLBB. We'll slowly get into there, but since we already introed that life-saving process, all right, did you guys know? Maybe some of you have already heard this story, but I'm gonna tell it again.
Some of the people who know us listening.
Yeah.
Hello to you listening.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
You're our close friend as well.
Yeah. That's right. Okay.
I'm time traveling right now.
Yeah,
I'm talking to someone in the past remotely. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's the power of a podcast. You can time travel, actually.
Hey, Midnight, how you doing?
Yeah. Okay. So the life-saving story. Back in 2019, the year of our Lord 2019, it was a busy week, I think.
Bro, something tells me it was like a Wednesday night.
It was a Wednesday.
Going into the Thursday. So it was dawn, bro. It was
dawn.
2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But that day, it was a eventful night for esports in particular. Why? Because TI is happening. I think Worlds is kind of also happening during that time.
Yeah, all sorts of events were happening in that quarter.
Yeah, quarter. So that was that's happening, and then there's MPL together with TI, which for our group it's crazy.
We were working all sorts of events.
Exactly. So
all week.
So it's like you already finished your work for let's say weekend A, heading into weekday of that right after the weekend, and then there's another weekend.
That's right.
And then there's another weekday.
Barely hanging on. So that was one of the nights that we were actually free because I was up.
You were free.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that was it was a Wednesday to Thursday, so that means it was the calm before the storm.
It was the calm before.
That was the last day we could stay up because the next few days we had broadcast.
Right, that's what you meant. Yeah. That's essentially. So that happened, and
this is cool because we're telling the same story from two different perspectives.
Exactly. Yeah, right. So I come home and I remember this is the first episode of my spasms. So it's a new symptom for me because I'm used to having those.
Oh, was it?
It was actually. It was the first episode of my spasm. So I didn't know that I will have that. Well, people normally will get that if you don't watch if you don't move as much as a normal person should.
You didn't know it could get that bad.
Yeah, I didn't know it could get that bad. So that happened, and I'm already feeling some of the symptoms. Then I rode the motorcycle taxi, the Angkas, which is probably the catalyst of it. It's very uncomfortable.
The equivalent of a Gojek for some of y'all.
Yeah, that's right. So I get home. The initial thing I do, because I'm so tired and I am in pain, is to lie down. And what's the translation of dapa?
Laid prone.
Yeah, I was.
You were on your stomach.
I was on my stomach. I was prone because my bed was not actually it's not an actual bed.
It's a futon, bro.
Yeah.
This is the young adult situation.
Exactly. So yeah, you can still remember the picture of that. Yeah. So I forgot how you came in. But anyway. This
Tell me your part first.
Yeah, I'll tell the part first.
At some point, once the thing happens to you, it's just a blur.
It's just a blur. That's right. So I was there, proned, and couldn't stand anymore. I was very hungry at that moment.
Did you panic immediately?
No. I tried to stand.
Okay, so to you it was like normal. I'm just tired.
I'm just tired.
Okay.
I get sick all the time. Come on, this is nothing, right?
I'll be fine.
I'll be fine. So it took so much for me to stand up, and I couldn't actually. The long story short, I couldn't stand up. I couldn't put myself up and stand up and get something to eat.
You failed to do. You
failed.
lost the capability to can.
Exactly. Now I reach out to my phone, and I remember my intro. Like, hey Dan, are you busy?
Dude, I swear, I think I can dig up my messenger and look back to that night.
Yeah.
I can Google. I can search it. Google it. I can search it and go like,
Yeah.
there it is. Because it's very specific. All right, so that was a short span. That was within 15 to 20 minutes. I was out the door.
Yeah.
What I was doing that night was, again, it was one of the nights that was chill for us.
Yes.
Right? So I decided to reward myself after a normal day of being home. The
Yeah.
equivalent of being home while you're in your esports grind phase. Because this was during the time in our careers where everything was just so fast paced. We would take everything, man.
Yeah,
it was
right.
quality.
That's
it
right.
was quantity over quality. So this was one random Wednesday that I said, you know what? I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna go to the gym. Just take my time. And then around 10 p.m., 11 p.m., it was a late night decision to have a snack. I ordered myself a zinger. Yeah! So I ordered a zinger and I did it via Grab, and then it came and something caught my attention. Something distracted me.
Yeah.
So I eventually was about to eat my meal at around 1 a.m. Something like that, right? 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was about to dig into it fresh after alighting myself in the bathroom, because you can't get a big chicken sandwich in you if you're full.
Exactly.
So I let loose a little bit. And
Yeah.
then as I was wiping off and washing my hands, I get the message.
Yeah.
And then you go,
Yeah, I think Dan, are you busy? So something like that, right?
I'm like, no, not really. I'm okay, just chilling. And I think I told you very specifically, I'm about to eat the zinger, bro.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. So I messaged Dan, and the context here is why I messaged Dan specifically was I know that he lives nearby.
Yeah. There was this time in history, a good 3 to 6 months of 2019, wherein me, Wolf, and Midnight lived in a holy triangle.
Yeah.
Like it was within a kilometer or so of each other.
Exactly. We're in the Riverlands, as we call it.
Yeah, in Pasig City.
Yeah. So that's that. So I message him and then I call him like, hey, and I also know, by the way, I wouldn't have called you if I know that you couldn't carry me, because that's also like part of the. Did
you do like a quick filter in your head, like who can carry me?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm pretty sure. Like, yeah, I know Illustrator is nearby. Yeah, he lives nearby. I know Rockhart also lives nearby.
Yeah, Rockhart's maybe
a little bit.
A few off, but still in Pasig.
Yeah, my sister also lives nearby, so I'm thinking about like who is in the best shape,
who is likely,
who is more than likely to be able to carry a man.
And very specifically, the reason why I responded the way I did was because this was a time in our career and our lifestyle and our friendship that a message that comes to you at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. could mean a good time.
Yeah.
If someone says, hey, are you busy? The correct response is, no, I'm not.
No.
Where are you at?
Where are you at?
I just responded,
Yeah. So that is very true. And
so
then,
you had your own filtering. I had mine too. Like, yo, this could be.
This could be a good time. Well, it ended up to be a good time for me, but
a great time, bro.
That was a great time. So, so I tell him, hey, I'm busy. Hey, you mind if you bring me to the hospital?
I did. Okay, I did. It was as simple as that.
Yeah,
there was no call.
Yeah,
you did not call me, and you just messaged me like normal. So to me, I'm like, okay, hospitals might be serious.
Yeah,
but not serious enough that he would call me and go,
I'm dying.
What would you have done?
I would have rushed to his place.
Homie's trained paramedic, by the way.
Yeah.
Homie's trained paramedic.
Yeah, we
by
have
the
a
way.
homie here. Yeah.
Yeah. So
We have Jamie. Yeah.
AKA Limber Pineda. Anyways, that's another bit of lore. But no. So to me, again, a friend in need, and I could help. Why not? Yeah. But I don't know why I was so cool with it. I don't know why I, believe it or not, tell me I'm wrong. As soon as I walked into your house and I broke in, okay, tell the rest of the story because he literally gave me the way into his house.
Yeah, honestly, here's the part where I can remember where it's a blur because I think I'm trying to survive. I think I'm trying to
all your functions, even mentally, were just to not die.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I can't remember how you got in.
I'll tell you how.
Okay,
so I think all right. So you message me, come on over, and then at some point I keep you updated. Like I message you 3 or 4 times, telling you, all right, grabs here, I'll be there in 15.
Yeah.
Grabs here, I'm coming down. Grabs here, 10 minutes away, and then and then I think I called you maybe once, and I asked you how the hell do I get in, and you said, check the window near the front door.
That's right.
It's the kitchen exhaust. Shimmy around, you will see a key. And
that's
then
right.
Because I would remember if I kicked the door down. I did not. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, well, because I know myself and I don't know, I think I'm not living with anyone back there. I can't remember.
You may have had
I may have had roommates.
You may have had roommates, but they were out of town.
Yeah, they were out of town. Nobody, yeah. I was literally alone that time. Even my girlfriend wasn't there.
Yeah, and we were friends with your roommates. I knew Jason.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that happened.
What timing? And you were alone. What timing?
Wow, dude, it was again, it was crazy. Now, so you break. We just got a Grab. We booked a Grab.
Yeah. So what happened was I opened the door and I'm like, all right, I know your room, and I opened the door and you're like, hey, what's up? Yeah, bro.
Thank you for coming.
No. To be fair, it was very mellow.
Okay.
I came in through the door. You weren't dying. Because if you were, I would remember. It would be burned into my memory if I saw you. No, it was like, hey, man.
Yeah.
It happened.
It's just what it is.
Equivalent of, right? So I'm like, all right, what do we do? All right, carry me. Go call a Grab. Go to this hospital.
Yeah.
And it was a hospital I was familiar with because it was the hospital right across from where my old radio station was.
Was it?
VRP.
VRP was. So wait. What building was that?
Paragon.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I'm like, I know exactly where that is.
Along EDSA, yeah.
Yes, we'll book a Grab. I got you. We didn't even need to book a Grab. I remember now. I talked to the Grab.
Yeah,
I told him, bro, this is an emergency. My friend is sick. He's hurting. Can you stay? I'll pay for whatever at the end. Just wait for me. And then
I can fairly remember that we couldn't find because I was having spasms back then, and it was not a simple spasm. It was actually like it was pretty bad.
It was what they would call in the business an attack.
It was an attack. Yeah, I can fairly remember trying to get the sweetest spot to actually lie down because
while in the Grab
because I'm technically I don't fit like
we put you in and it was a worse situation than a drunk friend. You were a spasm friend.
I was a spasm friend. So that happened. I went to the hospital, the ER. You stayed for a bit. You waited for my parents, I think,
or your sister.
My sister, you waited for my sister. You were.
You
have a power bank. But I remember. I don't know why I remember that there was a power bank. I don't know the significance of it.
It's not yours.
It wasn't yours?
I don't know. No, I'm asking you if you know it was yours because
it wasn't mine.
I'm known to always carry a power bank.
I don't have a power bank
back then. All right, so it must have been mine. Yeah. And I knew because you needed to call your.
That's right. Yeah. I needed to call someone, and that's probably why I remember the power bank because I kind of borrowed it, perhaps.
Yeah. So I was your legal guardian for the time. I was the one signing papers, and then
that's true.
My friend, and we'll wait for his parents, and yeah. And then all in all, the ending of this lore is I left about 5-6 a.m. right before the sun came out. Yeah. Got home, ate my zinger.
Yeah, this is my reward for being good friend. So that is the lore. Where
hilarious.
That was the time when Leo saved my life, literally. You know, I mean, what could have happened to me? I think died from hunger, perhaps, maybe.
Dude, no, that kind of spasm. Do those just go away? You're the medical expert.
I'm not an expert on this.
You're a trained paramedic, bro.
I'm a trained paramedic to bring him to the hospital, not see what happens afterwards.
I guess.
Well, truth be told, though,
sorry.
I mean,
you're forgiven.
I think even the X-rays that happened was so.
What time did you get
home?
What time did you get home after that?
I think noontime.
Oh.
Yeah, that was noontime, and I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, you spent the whole day then.
Yeah, couldn't sleep. I think that they try to give me medicine, but the medicine will not help. Yeah, I remember that kind of medicine, which is weird because it makes you physically high, not mentally.
Oh, you're just
Yeah, it's just not. It doesn't feel anything.
you're just floppy.
That may be light, okay.
Tramadol,
Oh, tramadol.
but with paracetamol. So it's like
That's just miserable then. You're just
you're either sleepy or but the worst is because we are troopers practically, and I know that if I miss one cast, I'm gonna be poor.
Yeah.
So that was actually the horrifying part of it, which I had to actually miss the entirety of because the doctor said no, you can't do it.
So that weekend you were off.
That weekend I was off, and it was painful because it was TI, it was MPL, like so many things happening, and I missed a lot. But it is what it is. At least I'm alive, and
at least I'm alive.
Yeah.
So he says, at least I'm alive.
Yeah. So that's the lore between Wolf and Leo.
That is the bond.
The bond that we built, apart from many other stuff,
Apart from not tearing each other apart, for staying alone in a room for 30 days straight. Alone, that's
where you can't get out.
Yeah. I don't know how we survived that. I don't know. The stuff that we can't talk about on the podcast, but you know what I mean?
All right. So one thing that I want you all guys to know is that me and Leo and almost all of the casters, we like to mess around. And we call it like cancer, like canceran, which means like we kind of like I don't know, we just come up with very random stuff.
Cancer is a borrowed Filipino word.
Yeah.
That means basically all sorts of ribbing, pranks, jokes, and it's just a catch-all term.
Exactly. So we did a lot of pranks for 30 days to our colleagues and to each other, but we made sure that nobody gets hurt. Like it should be like it's mildly annoying.
Yeah.
It's like
inconvenient. Yeah, mentally perplexing, but nothing scarring, nothing.
Yeah, I remember when we used to like fool around with Butters. Remember this? Like, hey Butters, you have water in your sink, and then when he gets there's a lot of water bottles.
Yeah. This was in M2, wherein they would refill our water bottles on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So Butters would end up with like a dozen water bottles.
Yeah.
And then whenever we would visit his room, we would stack them all up in the weirdest places.
That's right.
Hey Butters, you have water in your tub. It's literally bottled water in his tub.
Yeah. So that's it. Anyways, the way our friendship goes deep. That's all I can say.
Like lore.
Like lore. Which now brings us to some of the actual topic, which is about lore.
Man's brought notes. Hey.
Hey, this is from you, by the way.
Oh.
Actually, I just wrote down what you said.
Notes is in here then.
All right. And well, before we start with MPL lore, I kind of wanted to know what's your lore. How did you get into shoutcasting? Maybe a lot of people already know about your story, but maybe some of them don't. So I guess it's time to refresh them kids on what happened. Maybe very quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you started in a broadcasting background, and then hosting.
Yeah. Okay. Long story short, then we'll do the abridged version. First, got in front of a mic in this kind of setting in college.
Yeah.
I'd say it was 2010, something like that. And I'm about to show my age here. I initially got into it because I just wanted to have a place to hang out in college that had aircon. Schools is hot, man. The Philippines is a warm
that's right.
ass country, and I just wanted to spend my off time where it was cool.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I joined this org just because of that. Just very base instinct, very base need. One thing led to another. I fell in love with the craft, and I got into radio, like national radio, FM radio. Had my own struggles, heartbreaks, victories there. Next thing I know, I'm doing hosting as well, like event hosting. I met all sorts of people, and that's where my love for esports came through. Because I had a platform similar to this, right? Wherein I could get someone on a microphone, they would spend some time, we would get to know each other, and we would tell stories. And that's how I met a lot of the personalities that we work with still today. Like Sir Jab of
Yeah.
AP Bren.
That's right.
That's why we go way back. Try Gutierrez of then Peso, right? When it was first starting to put up.
The Hearthstone people. I think did you interview Gia?
I had Gia,
Yeah.
Cara Cute.
Ishan, I think.
Her and Richard Pompey Castillo.
Yeah.
Right? So I had this.
And
this
Butters.
to Riku. I had this Asurai.
Yeah.
See, I had this short list of people that worked in the industry that I could only hope to be in because I looked up to them, and I channeled that and said, you know what, I can use my platform to tell your story so that people can appreciate esports the way I do. Hey, weird universe. I also had Aki and Bianca. Bianca
Together?
Hicks. Yeah. They were live from ESL Major or something like that. ESL 1 Manila Major.
Oh, yeah.
One of those call-ins.
That's right. That's right.
ESL1 Manila.
Yeah. See? So
Man.
I don't know how I got these conversations and connections going because I started from nowhere. I was not your friend back then. Like I was Butter's friend, but I wasn't like a dude you knew.
Yeah,
But I was around.
Yeah.
I was media at ESL 1 or at Manila Major.
Masters.
Manila Masters. Whichever one of those, right? So that's my intro into esports.
Yeah.
And then one day in 2018, I decided to go full-time streaming. So there was this little outfit for under
Bren
Entertainment. Yeah, it was under the Bren group of companies. And when that didn't work out, when that stopped, when it didn't work out anymore, I said, you know what? This is bad. 'Cause it was a time wherein I had a lot of bills to pay. I had a condo. I was a young adult trying to make my way through life, and it was bad. So at the time, I was willing to take any gig. I was willing to take all gigs, and that's where you came in, and you messaged me. I had a short lineup of things to do.
Yeah.
But you messaged me and said, "Hey, can you cast?" Mobile Legends.
Yeah, that's right. But before that, you interviewed us. That's why I know that you know Mobile Legends.
Yes.
And that you can speak as a shoutcaster.
I could speak okay. So that was the time when I was still with Brent Entertainment.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that, and then one thing led to another.
Yeah.
That was season 3. Bob's your uncle. That's how I got into casting.
Yeah.
My first cast, I know you're gonna ask, was with this gentleman over here, Giro Nomad Pineda.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, man, I was wearing a.
He's actually nimble.
Yeah, he's
Limber, I
He's
mean.
very limber. He went right through cameras and whatnot.
Yeah,
This is the guy we were pointing at. Trained paramedic. This one. I was wearing a shirt very similar to his shirt right now. A blue plaid shirt.
Yes.
With a blue.
Black tank top.
Yeah, a black tank top inside because I did not get the memo on what the dress code was. I blame Renmar for this. Renmar was our talent manager back then.
Exactly.
I showed up with a 3-piece suit with a tie.
He showed up with it's a gray 3-piece suit. He was a handsome gentleman. And I'm like, hello. Walk me through this. This is my very first day. And we did all right. It could have gone worse.
Yeah.
Half a dozen ways, but we did okay. And I stayed around.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, I stayed around. So
That's right.
that's the lore.
That's the lore of Mr. Leo. Now heading into MPL, of course, season 3 was it was actually a success. Yeah, all things considered, like it was a very fun season. Yeah. Then we had to season 4. Then there was season 5. Season 4 and 5. I remember there was a panel between Yumi and Midnight for some reason.
Season 5, the first
season
few
5.
weeks of season 5,
Yeah.
when we first got our a more regular home in a studio.
That's right, because we had an arena.
Yeah. Season 4, we kind of had an arena, but it wasn't as publicly known.
Yeah.
So we only got sporadic audiences. But season 5, though, that's where that memory's from.
That's right. Anyways, and I'm sure that because you like lore, you have your own lore. You like developing lore. You keep that in your head, right? You're very
In my heart.
In your heart.
It's very cheesy. But.
Can you? Are you confident in saying that you can recall the name of your show?
Hey.
You can recall. You can recall certain stories in the world of MLBB.
Yeah. No, I think that's what makes. Again, this comes from a very pure and very self-aware place. Like far from boasting. I think that's what makes me special as a broadcaster is I study, yes, I review, yes, but a lot of the things that I share on broadcast, we actually lived through. That's why it comes through as a story. That's why it comes through as like a memory, right?
Yeah, which I really like because it's like we're historians in a way. Although technically you can probably look at many videos and
read all the articles. Yeah.
You'll know.
Yes.
But it's different when somebody has lived through it. And maybe along the way you can write a book. So this is part 1 of the time that I will have you. Part 2 will be maybe in the next future, maybe when we're season 24, whatever.
Anytime.
There's another lore. But for now, so what I did was to ask Leo what his favorite stories are, favorite lore when it comes to MLBB. And we're not talking about the actual lore of the game. Like that's a different discussion.
I do enjoy that too, but yes.
That's a different discussion.
League lore,
right? So some of the more important ones, which I like, because the thing is, when you sent me this, I also looked back at some of the videos, and boy, it was a trip.
Yeah,
it was a trip.
You remember what you were wearing, what you did that day, how it felt.
Yeah, the food that we were eating, which is mainly just pastel back then.
Different times.
Yeah, different times. That guy laughed. All right, he knows. The first one is Omega Timers, which is technically speaking not Omega. This is more it was actually Omega Timers.
It became more of a thing because take this, right?
Yeah.
I think they've been Omega longer now than they were ever Execration.
Yeah, so they were Execration until 7.
8, 9.
No,
10,
wait.
12.
I think you're right. Because they were only Execration starting season 2.
Right? Exactly. So 3, 4, 5, 6,
7.
7.
Yeah.
And then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. So when the thing was a thing, they were more Omega.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay. So I actually had a chance to talk to Etomax and
Patrick was sitting in this very chair.
That's right.
Hello.
That's true.
That's creepy. I shouldn't have done that.
You know who else sat there?
Who?
Just recently, it was Benedict Things.
Benedict Things?
That's right.
Of TNC. Oh, that was my former player, bro.
Right. Yeah. So, and Patrick, you had a drinking session with him too. You had, right? With
yes. No, dude, that's one of my favorite bits of lore. That happened off camera, by the way.
Yeah, it happened. It was
that was MSC 2021.
It was fun. All right. Yeah, Omega Timers. I do agree with you because Omega Timers. Actually, the Execration Timers happened in season 6. That was the most famous part of it. Like it was the season that it was developed.
Benjamin Cutie.
And then come season 8, which is now they are Omega. It came with that. And of course, Omega Timers sounds really good because, well, Omega is a watch, you know.
Omega is also the end.
So it has a ring to it. And together with, back in season 7 and 8, there was that TikTok timers that also came because there was a patch.
Wherein if you died past a certain timer, you basically could just put your phone down, do a TikTok, scroll on TikTok, and then come back.
Yeah, because it's a minute, literally. So there's that. And then Omega Timers happened. So, you listed this down, but I don't know which part of this lore you like the most.
All right. What I love about Omega Timers is it is evergreen. We've changed the team's name. You changed a bit of the roster. You changed the way that they perform. They've gone between third place, runner-up, champion at MSC, and now struggling. You know, they've never missed the playoffs. But some way, somehow, season after season, it comes out.
Yeah, that's right.
So it comes between, 16 minutes, 18 minutes, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's there and people acknowledge it, whether or not we mention it, makes it lore that is evergreen. It's the way how it's like the hero's journey.
Yeah.
No matter what genre, no matter where the source of literature is, some way somehow it comes out.
Yeah. It has a nice ring to it and it makes a lot of sense. And the thing is, people will always look at Team at Omega and they will never give up they will not just give up the game.
Yep.
You know that's gonna happen. You know that Omega Timers will kick in.
As long as the base stands, there's a chance. You can look at it 20, 30 minutes. It's past Omega. It's past Omega Timers. They can win.
That's right. Which is great.
Popeye with spinach.
Yep. which makes that part of the lore very important. So maybe to all the viewers out there, the key things that you have to watch out for is season 6. They have great games there. There was a record actually that the team Omega is Omega/Execration is the team that has the best
Win rate.
when the game goes past 18 minutes.
Yep.
At a certain point, it was 7-1 for Execration, which was amazing. So that was Omega Timers. Next on your list is the Blacklist win streak, which is very general because which part?
Okay, all right. The Blacklist win streak, and partly this may be me stroking my own ego, is because I technically wrote it into history via the rap battle.
Oh!
On Singlaro, bago matalo. And, agent or not, you know that that's true. You know that record stands. And thanks to RSG, it's just tied with Echo from season 12. So in the history of modern MLBB, that is the longest win streak.
That's right. And by modern MLBB, we are talking about like you can literally trace it back to the start of the franchise league.
I would dare even say post Project Next.
Post Project Next.
So late 2020.
Late 2020 when we've had the lanes, basically.
Yeah. So that's the closest you can get in game wise to the environment we have now.
All right, yeah. So that's a very important that's 11-0. That's season 8, right?
That's right.
You know what really resonated with me on season 8 for Blacklist International's run is the fact that in season 7 we've established Ube.
Yes.
And then they lost during MSC and we declared Ube because of the patch, the strength, whatever, everything. Everybody who's watching has declared that Ube's
this
over.
Is it.
Season 7.
No more.
Then season 8, their first game. Oh my goodness.
Yo, this was when Martise Rome was a thing.
So, yeah.
And they let Haji play in the Rome. I'm like, yo.
Exactly.
That's right. And that's been their longest win streak.
People, especially because Blacklist did that Blacklist in the first week of MPL, the first game that they did, they really put up another Ube strategy, which for us is like, oh man, that's not gonna work. This is different meta now.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, 11-0 with the same lineup that they were doing in the previous season.
Same strat,
just better. Much better.
Yep.
Exactly, which is great. And also that win streak was snapped by their rivals.
That's right.
Which is great because season 8 was very storied when it comes to strats because it was one of those seasons where it's a strat versus strat in a way that it's like the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Whoever brought out the strat that won the rock, paper, scissors that week was going to come out on top.
Exactly.
So this was the season of, the Ube, the new Ube, the banana split, or the Onyx shuffle that we'd like to call it then.
That's right.
Very clearly it was the Selena. It was the Selena on Boloy that like, Bonchan could not just...
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? We'll stop at 11.
Yeah.
There was the RSG Death Ball.
That's right.
There was
RSG Death Ball.
What else? Omega Timers was a thing too?
Omega Timers, that's right. Was it also the season with Alus Digi? No, it wasn't. It was season 9.
No, that was season 9.
Yeah.
Malik of then Brenny Sports was one of the bigger names than Carl Teasy. But yeah, so we're getting derailed. But yes, see? So... Season 8 was the season wherein strat versus strat.
Yep.
But at the end, only one of those teams came out with 11-0.
11-0. I mean, it was crazy. And they went on... Which is funny because the next thing on our list is actually the Omega Onyx 3-hour pause.
Oh, that was season 8 too.
That was season 8 too. But before we get to that, I'm gonna... well, which is part of it. So I'm gonna just say them all together,
okay?
Because they're all related.
Okay.
It's part of it. So remember, guys, I hope you're still with us. We're still season 8. Okay. The Blacklist win streak on Singlaro. That was the rap battle.
We are in third quarter of 2021, folks.
Exactly.
If you're time traveling with us.
All right. So at a certain point, there was a Omega Onyx 3-hour pause, which was then. Followed by the OHEB Season 8 penalty that you listed here. Right?
Yep. That's lore. That's history.
That's lore. But before we get into that, before we get into Omega, Onic, and OHEB penalty, we have to still get to Kelra versus OHEB.
All right.
First, because that was actually the foundation of it.
Yes.
Season 8.
Despite Kelra versus OHEB being the grand finals of the prior season and the MSC that followed, it wasn't a thing until season 8.
It wasn't
they were just
thing.
Yes, they were just competitors then.
Okay.
Believe it or not, 2 grand finals back to back in 2 of the biggest leagues and major MLBB esports events in the world. And they only really became rivals in season 8.
Season 8. That's when that was when we can say that it was
it's a thing.
It was a thing. You know,
it got a label.
Funny enough, I was able to get to talk to Mr. Patrick Kaidik, Etomax or Etomax.
Yep.
He mentioned that actually the Kelra versus OHEB thing was a thing because they were kids and they were on top. They were at the top level.
That's right.
And it did stem from them being successful in the amateur scene.
Yes. No, because even OHEB was a big name prior to becoming a member of Blacklist.
Exactly. Yeah. And they were Blacklist got OHEB and Execration got Kelra at the same time.
Yeah.
Was the time between like MPLI of that one
right before M2.
Right before M2. That's
right.
Yep.
So they both debuted in season 7.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Kelra was from Work.
Yes.
Or execration.
Yes.
Work.
Yeah.
Then OHEB was from Amihan.
Yeah.
So they were already like at the top level. But so there's a little bit of friction because both of the players were young and they want to prove something. Yeah. So it's typical hormones raging kind of youth. You know?
No, it's just
they were pretty young.
Very competitive, I'm better than you.
Exactly. Yeah. So that happened. Now season 7 happens. They get met in the finals. MSC happens. Kelra gets his score.
It's one. OHEB gets 1. Kelra gets 1.
So it's pretty even. Then there was that.
And now season 8.
But before season 8, remember, there was a little bit of an issue.
Oh, yeah. That was a thing that happened off broadcast.
Season. Exactly.
And it just so happened that Kelra got the bad end of the deal.
Of course.
Kelra got into some business he should not have.
Yeah.
And that's why it was a difficult start for Omega in season 8.
That's right. So season 8 was very rough. I think even there wasn't even an issue for KLVJ and Ryzen because KLVJ was fresh off of an international championship, but then he fell off for some reason.
Yep.
Season 8. All right, so that's a different story. So it was very was roller coaster for Omega. Dude. And if you're an Omega fan, you're always like, I've been here before. Whatever. I know something's gonna happen.
Not to mention it. Here's a little bit of mini lore. Season 8. And then season 7, I don't know why I'm going backwards, but KLVJ started the season weird.
Yeah.
So season 8, he wasn't mentally in the right place, right?
Yeah.
So that affected his performance. Season 7, folks, believe it or not, before their first match, KLVJ, Execration.
The double deck.
Yeah. A bed fell on him.
Yeah, season 7. It's crazy.
But he won that match, though. They won that match.
They did.
Weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's the double K.
Yeah,
anyway, since we're talking about Omega, and I promise you, this is related to the Blacklist rivalry, the Kelra versus OHEB, and of course the penalty whatsoever.
Yep.
Because
very fruitful.
Omega, and this is also related to Omega timers, because people know that Omega, they have a playoffs form. The regular season does not matter.
Yeah. Okay, it's the same situation, folks. Put it into proportion, right? If the 1 to 18-minute mark is your regular season, 18 minutes past, that's the playoffs. If we get past this, it's good.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah. So this is all very, very important. And I hope you're still following us. And I hope that you're enjoying, actually. But yeah, that's very important for you to know. So that happens. It was a little bit of struggle for Omega. They need every bit of win because that's just how Omega rolls. Yep. If they can't win this series against Onic or maybe just get a game, or if they lose 2-0, it's a very bad situation for them.
Yep.
So come this late into the season,
week 7, week 8.
Week 7, week 8, Omega faces Onic. Onic apparently misses
Aulus or Bane. Bane or Aulus.
Yeah, something like that.
One or the other.
And you know what, Strippy? There was a game where it was Hate in the jungle then because it was the Onyx Shuffle.
Yeah.
And Hate was playing Aldous for God knows why.
Yeah.
Or was it maybe even Wukong or whatever.
Coach Yeb things.
Coach Yeb just makes hate play anything. But yeah, anyway, it was that game where there was a 3-hour pause. What part of that 3-hour pause made you wanted to
Put it
discuss
there.
it? Yeah.
Number one, I was there. Number one, we all lived through that.
Yep.
So it was crazy because there was a lot of uncertainty. Folks, I think we're years past it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you now, it really just came down to that. A lot of people today might still be wondering what the hell happened. Why did it last that long? It comes down to that.
Yeah.
We weren't sure how they were dealing with it, but when it came down to us as broadcasters, all we got was they're still figuring it out, man.
Still figuring it out.
They're trying to get everybody on to make the right decision. But regardless, what mattered to me was how we stuck it out and how we continued the show.
Yep.
And we carried on and just closed it up strong because that match mattered.
Yep.
Everything that went down there mattered.
Yep.
And within that 3-hour time span, we did a lot to keep our sanity backstage.
That's right.
And Butters even fell through a wall.
Exactly. There were so many important events that happened.
Yeah.
First off, we people were already like clamoring like, hey, we deserve an explanation. So as casters, what we did, which is, if you think about it, very weird that was our way
Our
of
response.
Our response. We went live, all of us, individually, but at the same.
There's half a dozen phones just put up all together, and we were just entertaining people the best way we could.
Yep, that's right.
And when that got tired, again, like an hour into it,
Yeah.
we all just started dancing. We all just started laughing around, making jokes. And then Butters falls through a wall.
Exactly.
Because for those of you who don't know, I'm sure there are photos or videos of this. The setup we had at the World Trade Center, they were just these stands, these booths.
It's just like a what? It's not even a tent. It's
How
like
do you describe this?
It's a board.
Yeah,
like a
cubicle type situation.
Yeah.
So any significant weight that you put on them, it will fall through.
Yeah.
And Butters is a grown man. And we were dancing and, we were just laughing it off, trying to survive, basically, our sanity, keep it safe so that once the broadcast resumes, we would be ready to entertain.
That's right.
And lo and behold, things got a little rowdy.
Yep.
And Butters being Butters, he does have his clumsy moments.
Yep.
Trips over something or someone.
Yep.
Falls right through the wall, on his back, on his butt. And people from production are like, whoa.
Yeah. Like,
all right.
What just happened?
And true enough, like a champion, he just stands up, shakes it off.
Laughs about it.
Yeah, laughs about it. Let's put that wall back up. Because again, luckily enough, it didn't break.
Yeah.
It just fell off. The panel fell off. We put it back up. And there's like an hour left in the pause. Yes.
What do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did a lot of stuff to like I said, to keep our sanity.
Yeah. So the question is, what did you guys do during that break?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of y'all still came back and still finished the match.
The funny thing is, people, and I'm very thankful about the community here, is that they were watching all of the streams. And I fairly remember someone, it might be even Glez actually, or someone from our circle.
That's QWERTY, yeah.
That's QWERTY. That he, there was a throwback when he was actually watching all of our streams all together.
The random streams we did on our own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they just put it together. And it's funny because if you put them all together, it's like a big picture.
Like a panorama,
like a panorama for everyone, which is, it was crazy.
Of the talent holding area.
Yeah. And the thing is, we powered through. And to be fair, World Trade Center is a very far place.
It's ways off. Yeah.
Ways off. It is what it is. Yeah. That's what we do. So it was special.
Yeah, that's why it's in my lore. That's why it's in my list of bits to talk about in the long lore of our league. Is because for the viewers, it was an experience. It wasn't a very good experience, but it was memorable nonetheless.
It was memorable.
And then for us, this might be the first time you're hearing about this. It was also memorable for us because we also did our own little thing to make sure the show went on.
Exactly. So that's that. Now, I think Onic eventually won that series, which puts Omega now in a very tight spot.
Of course.
And again, they still made it through the playoffs. But then there was also a very important part of it, which is also related to Keller versus Oheb, because now Omega faces Blacklist International, right?
Yeah.
That was the series, right?
That's where it happened.
Where it happened.
Yeah, where Oheb pulled the thing.
Pull the thing. Which and that thing I call Intercontinental Love You.
The Intercontinental Labio.
Yeah. Because he just showed his love.
It is what it is.
It was
it's
what it
the
is.
love in the purest form. It was.
That's right.
He couldn't stop it. To be honest, to be fair, again, that's why I listed it here, is because it was a very genuine moment.
It was.
I was on desk when this happened. If I'm not mistaken, I was with Rockhart and
Were you really?
Reptar.
Okay.
If I was with Owami, I would know. That desk would
Yeah,
not
yeah.
have survived if I was with Owami.
Yeah. So what was your reaction?
I think us being the trio that was there, it was a very mature response. You know, I don't know if we can dig up the archives, but I think our response was whoa, 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 all right, oh, and then luckily enough, production was quick enough to clip over to a different scene.
That's right.
But yeah, no, we were not expecting that. What we were expecting was Oheb was messing around. You know what I mean? Because in that day and age of banter via webcam, since this was still in the pandemic, it would be entertaining to go, oh, I'm about to do it. I'm going to do it. Why? Stop me. I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what the scene was like.
And by the way, the meta back then, season 7, season 8, you have to be very creative with your pop-offs.
That's right.
So there was that, one of my favorites was the ringer, the train that Blacklist did.
Yeah.
And there was the Miko Ryota thing.
Via repo. Like, yeah. There was also the Yeah, we drinking water.
Yeah, we drinking water. That's right.
There was the sleep. This is
the good
because
good
this.
one.
Okay, folks. For those of y'all who just started watching season 12, the choke pose was prior forbidden.
Yeah, it was forbidden back then.
Yeah,
so they had to really be creative.
This is in the wake of the choke pose, so they had to really figure it out.
That's right.
So for Oheb to have gone back to his Intercontinental Labio, that was just wow. People were dodging choke pose, and this is what happened. Because I can't blame him.
Yep.
Again, it was teenage things. It was just teenage rivalry things.
Yep. I mean, I was able to talk to the Etomax, right? And he basically said, no, they were just kids, Very unfortunate. But they still had to be accountable to their actions, which now leads us to that penalty.
Yes.
In season 8,
which I believe is a first in the league's history.
Which
for something like that.
Yeah. If you think about it, it even made the story of Blacklist International even more eventful.
Yep.
Because what happened afterwards was Haji now had to play. Eson was back in the mix.
Yeah.
Or was it? It was Eson.
They had to shuffle up a bit.
Haji had to play EXP at a certain point. He had to play Gold Lane at a certain point.
Yeah.
They went into the playoffs. Still no Oheb. They had to go through the lower bracket.
The first 2 matches, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they had to go to the lower bracket. And what they needed to do was to actually survive one lower bracket match without Oheb.
1 or 2.
1 or 2.
Because they were in the upper bracket, so they could have they could have managed.
Exactly. They were facing, it was Execration that put them down there.
Yeah.
So that was...
No, it was Omega.
Omega.
Yeah, so this was the season where, again, this is why it's so memorable to me.
Yep.
It's near and dear to me, this moment, is because this is where I read into the situation well enough to know that they would drop.
Yep.
And that's where the 100% prediction rate for the playoffs came through. That's where
For
I started.
you.
Season 8, yes.
And that was also the 100% wrong prediction for me.
There you
That
go.
was also that season.
Really? You called it wrong
was.
the other way? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I was only right during the grand finals.
That's when you're like, no, I can do this now.
Yeah, like, come on, Blacklist, lower bracket meta. Because that's where I'm going through. We were talking about the lower bracket meta because all over esports world, the lower bracket was the lucky place
That's
to
how
be.
you make champions.
That's how you make champions. Yeah, it was actually part of your list as well.
Right.
Because I remember it was Dota 2, that lower bracket, the champions eventually were from the lower bracket. Blacklist went to the lower bracket, they won it. And that's also true with their M3 run.
Yes, they
Because
were dropped by BTK.
They were dropped by BTK.
Climb through.
And to be fair, honestly, for Blacklist, it was one of the longest ways to go to the grand finals.
Yep, I remember very specifically. We were calling that playoffs together, and it was a very heavy night.
It was a heavy night.
It was like, how would that? Why?
Yeah.
Why would this team from NA do this? How?
Yeah.
And
it was funny because in season 8, remember Yael was there. Shout out to Yael.
We hung out with Yael Yuzon, that's
Yael
right.
Yuzon
Of
is,
Sponge Cola.
Exactly.
You remember
a fan of Blacklist International, and he was like, hey, they were dropping the lower bracket and said, nah, they can still do it.
Homie, very specifically, I remember about that story. Homie was hitting MG.
Yeah, exactly. With Angela.
There's a bit of lore, folks. Yael Yuzon of Sponge Cola is a G. He plays Angela and hit Mythical Glory.
Mythical Glory with Angela exclusively.
That's crazy.
Sorry,
you were saying about his run,
anyway,
about Blacklist. How he's a fan of Blacklist.
And he was kind of sad that BTK won. Of course, there were no lower bracket. And remember, like, no, they're gonna be fine. But in the top of my head, like, yeah, they're gonna be fine. They just have to defeat Onyx. They just have to defeat RQ eventually along the way.
They gotta run through everybody.
They had to defeat a Singapore team. I can't remember which one, RSG maybe, or the other, or Evos SG.
They had to basically be the alley. They had to be the oop to the Filipino alley oop.
Exactly.
Because Onyx and Blacklist were just tag team comboing people in the brackets.
Exactly. It's like Onyx, like, hey. We defeated RQ, now you defeat RQ.
Yep.
Hey, we defeated BTK, now okay, defeat the BTK.
Yeah.
All right. So that happened. And then they eventually won 4-0 against Sonic. Everybody celebrating, and it was a very fun era for Philippines because that was the moment where we said, okay, this is the Philippine era.
And it's the Philippine era that ushered in lower bracket meta. I mean, that's for me. That's why I listed it out, is because that's what makes it true. Even in M2.
Yep.
Brenny Sports got dropped. Brenny Sports pulled the Miracle 7-game run.
Yep.
So that alone, like, yo, they're on fire. Lower bracket meta. Blacklist, lower bracket meta. Echo Season 11, lower bracket meta. After 2 best of 5s against RSG.
MSC.
Also MSC.
Yeah. MSC, yeah.
Which
it was
one?
Execration.
That too.
Yep.
Because Blacklist was waiting.
Exactly.
And then how? Even RSG, MSC 2022.
Exactly.
RQ was waiting. All right, Omega, I love you. Goodbye. Pow. Let's take it forward. Exactly.
Wow. So that was a very fun part of MLBB, which makes it very I would say you wanted to root for the underdogs, and the teams that are in the lower bracket are generally the underdogs, and they finish the story, which is great for esports in general.
Yep.
And it's very fun to watch. Speaking of underdogs and lower bracket, you also listed down here the Signal Ultra OG Comeback Kings.
Yeah.
What was that about? And to be fair, this was technically before your time.
Correct, yes. That's actually one of the things that got me into MLBB, into MPL specifically, because part of my lore that we skipped over given the abridged version was MPL Philippines Season 2 that was set in Circuit Makati. Was the very first MPL that I laid my eyes on. And I whispered to my talent manager then, see that? I want to be part of that.
Ooh.
So I kind of manifested it.
Do I know this talent manager?
Yeah, it's she migrated now. Previously of Garina, Kami Tafala. Yeah, so I nudged her. You see that? I want to be part of that.
So you were just a watcher.
Yeah, I was a fan, and this was a time when I kind of knew you and Manjin were part of MPL Aki then season 1, right? And I saw you guys working, and the prestige of the league, basically the stories y'all were telling were at a level I haven't seen yet, locally at least, right?
Yep.
Even internationally, because these are people that you meet, these are people that you see, and specifically in circuit, I saw how intimate the setting was and how grand it was at the same time.
Yep.
So I'm like, that's amazing. And that was a season that Signal Ultra won.
That's right.
And that was a team prior under a different banner that lost in season 1.
That's right. So it was a rematch of season
finals,
1 grand finals, but they were under a different team.
Set in the MOA Music Hall. No, MOA out.
Oh, yeah, MOA Musical. That's right.
But it wasn't air conditioned back then.
Yeah, it was
There you
open.
go.
It was one of the warmest, hottest esports events.
So that's why maybe in history now, looking back, I may have laid eyes on season 1, but I did not register it as something part of because that looks hot.
Yeah, that looks hot. It's like
like hot in a bad way. So that's why the era of Signal Ultra matters to me as Comeback Kings, is because I latched onto them and I channeled their story, their narrative, their energy in my debut run in season 3.
Yeah.
So in season 3 alone, I grew close to their management. That's why I was very good friends with Ikoy, now with Blacklist. One of the most winningest...
literally
the most winningest back-end employee in Philippine esports history. And also the lead vocalist for great indie rock band, Lions and Acrobats.
Watch them on Spotify. Oh, listen to them on Spotify.
That and... that's how I grew close to
Comeback Kings.
The Comeback Kings. Yeah, so I very remember specifically a core memory in season 3 where Signal Ultra dropped, and I had a conversation with Yaku in the back and like, Yaks, dude, this is tough, man. I'm sorry y'all won't make it to MSC. And he was like, yeah, no, I don't know if there's a way. You know, if there's a way that maybe Moonton opens more slots for 2019. MSC 2019 was the opener. Yeah. Was the lead up for Brenny Sports and Archangel to play in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's the situation.
Yeah.
So that's why Comeback Kings is very close.
Yeah. And Comeback Kings was a very important story in our lives because in MLBB, because it's very important to take note because they weren't the strongest team. Like it was always Aether, it was always Brenny Sports, and with Signal Ultra's Comeback Kings, they were able to, well, long story short, the reason why they were called the Comeback Kings is because they had a lot of comebacks, comeback victories. The most notable one was when Few was playing the Hellcurt, if I'm not mistaken, or was it Yaku? Or maybe Yaku was playing the Hellcurt, and then it was Few playing Kagura or something. But yeah, the story is they only had the base left, and they were able to win, which is very difficult in the competitive setting back then, like in year of 2018, early 2019. Right? So it was very historic. That was not in the MPL. I think it was probably MSC actually, or international tournament. Then they get on to another comeback victory that was Few, the idol of the kids back then. The one with Selena, with Kimi.
They were one of the few teams, pun intended, to actually have monikers before the golden age of monikers.
Exactly.
Tets, the true gangster.
Yep.
Right? Yakumania.
Yeah. You know Disanyo's name?
What was...
It's so stupid.
Say it.
Pambansang Bangs.
There you go.
The national...
Bangs. Yeah.
What's Bangs in...
Fringe?
Yeah.
Bangs. They're still Bangs.
They're still Bangs.
Yeah, it's like a... Yeah. National...
That one didn't latch on to me as much, but I've heard it.
Yeah.
I did bond with...
Mr. Pogi.
There you go. I did bond with with the Desenia though, Mr. Cruz.
Yeah.
Via other events outside of MPL, wherein we would share a desk.
Yeah.
During Role Swap, right? It's JJ. Right. Yeah. He's a funny dude.
He's a funny dude. I miss you, man. How you doing?
And then of course Esson. Still, he was a sweetheart then. Still today.
And the thing is, both Aether / Bren, and then Signal Ultra, we became friends with them forever. Like everybody from there, they remember. Because you know what's the funniest story about season 2? Bren already scheduled their Thanksgiving event, and we were like joking around with Signal Ultra. Do you remember being part of the Bren?
Yes.
In Makati.
That was a crazy night.
That was a crazy night.
We came from something else. We came from a different event.
Exactly. Yeah. So that thing, and the thing is, we were joking around like, hey, you're the champions, Signal. Why don't you have your Thanksgiving night or something like that? But it was funny because we know that even rivals back then, because Signal was actually in the Thanksgiving party of Brenny Sports. They were there, and everybody was happy. Everybody was just joking around. It was a fun.
That was a mythic night.
It was a mythic night for sure. So that happened, and long story short, Signal Ultra were the comeback kings, and they will mount many more comebacks in the future.
They were the prototype for many stories that would come to fruition.
That's right.
Signal Ultra crawled so that Smart Omega could run. So that the story of Coach Yeb crawling from out, because he was one Signal Ultra, right?
That's right.
Could happen. So from this team, right? I didn't know it then, but now we're looking back, they started a lot of good things.
That's right. Okay, so one of the I've crossed out some of the parts of your list. One thing, when I was looking at this, there's a very strong outlier, which is the quad flame shot.
Well, believe it or not, this is still season 8. What was that all about? How did we survive season 8?
Oh, wait, you were talking about a different... Okay.
What is the quad flame shot you were thinking?
hold on to this. This is a trip down memory lane.
How far?
Season 4 or 5.
Uh-huh.
Season 5, I think, or 4. I can't remember. It was U Level versus Geek Fam. When did Geek Fam come? Season 4? Season 4.
Yeah.
You were actually part of the panel. When did you panel? Was it season 4 or 5 or both?
Both.
So it's probably season 4.
Uh-huh.
You were paneling for this game. Dude, you are going to remember this because it's very iconic because it was a time where there were 4 flame shot users.
Yeah.
And back then it was legit strategy.
It was real.
It was real.
Uh-huh.
And they would get first blood in the mid lane.
Go from there.
Then go from there. U Level won against Geek.
Fan PH, yeah.
And you know what's very important about this win
What?
by U Level? It was that historic basic partying after the win victory. Their first victory, Basic was there was a lot of hype surrounding Basic because from the US and
Basic is real, yeah.
Basic is real, is strong. They partied after winning game 1.
That's it.
And that's it. They couldn't win afterwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. This is real. Now that you're reminding me of it, this was also the same season wherein Valir became a thing.
That's right.
And after that, U Level picked up, or rather, no, Geek Fam picked up on it. Like, yo, we can cheese these new battle spells. In the very playoffs of that season, they did 3 or 4 man Arrival.
That's
See?
right.
All
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
So now you remember. So it was 4.
Yes.
It was 4.
That was a real thing. And that was lore, but I meant something else.
Okay, what did you mean?
This
All right.
was the mythical 4-man, maybe 5.
It was a 5-man flame shot.
5-man flame shot
Season 8.
from next play.
Oh, man.
And funnily enough, this was the same season wherein they were gunning for top spot. This was
a Midnight
prime
era.
next play. This was Midnight Zico era. Midnight with a white streak in his hair era, bro.
I remember that seeing Midnight in a CCTV camera with a colored hair.
Yeah. What was that?
I was like, what?
Yeah, you know what's funny is looking back, you're right. We might have seen it first on broadcast, and then he sent us a selfies to explain what was going on.
We did only see it in broadcast.
And then we tagged him at midnight.
Yeah.
You gotta explain what's going on.
You gotta
What is this?
explain.
And then he sent us. Yeah.
And then I remember Aislinn. You guys don't know Aislinn, but she's a very important figure in the world. Very important.
Yeah.
But Aislinn said that
Happy birthday, belated happy birthday.
and also to Midnight, belated happy birthday.
Oh yeah.
That it was a bad hair. It was a bad hair do for Midnight.
It was a canon event that he needed to go through
It was
to
a
know,
phase. It was a
and
phase.
then never again.
Yeah, this is very important. But yeah, okay. What makes this memorable for me? What you said, the 5-man flame shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it was, I guess, we've been past this, and Midnight knows this. It was one of the plays that leave you a bad taste. Like one of the memories that just leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
Another funny reason why this was very memorable to me was because I was on desk for this. I did not know how to process that weekend because this was also when Johnson came out.
With Zilong.
Right? So I'm trying to get over that. And then you bring out the quad or 5-man flame shot. And I'm like, how am I supposed to call this match, bro?
Yeah.
The no ban weekend too?
That's right. Oh, wow. That was a weird weekend.
So, again, even the fans knew something was up. And the league decided to crack down on what was evidently wrong.
Yeah.
So, sadly, the hitman, among other members of Next Play back then, got a penalty on them. They can no longer win season awards. That was history. That was lore.
That was horror.
So, that was a heartbreak for me.
Yeah.
One of the shining bits of that was Sanford didn't get the penalty.
Yeah.
Did he not? I think he just missed it. Because that was when Renegade was the XP laner. So Sanford wowed us after that with his Benedetta.
Right, because he didn't play during the flame shot.
He did not play. So I'm like, yo, Sanford looks real.
Yeah.
So that's
right.
There's a lot of little branching bits from these core memories.
Okay. And I'm glad that we lived through it though. Now that I think about it, it was a nightmare for everybody, especially public relations back then.
Yeah. We can be thankful that we're
How
here.
did we survive that?
They're here still,
How did we get through that? My God, it was a nightmare if you think about it, but we did. We're here. Season 8 was one of the best seasons, also because of the strategies and stuff. So that's also part of it. That's why it felt like an outlier to me, because I was thinking a different thing.
Yeah, like you were going through season 8. Why is it season 4?
Yeah. Oh, the quad flame shot. I love you, Level. I miss you guys.
Season 4 was also the time of five-man mask.
That's right. It all started with the 3-man, 2-man mask. It was strategy, and then Onic
Just decided to break the game.
Yeah, which they lost, by the way.
Yep.
But then again, that's it. Next of you on this list is Irad versus Carl Tizzy.
It
was I love it. It was one of the highlights of season 11 for me, and that's why season 11 will always be memorable. It's because it all started with Irad winning against Carl Tizzy in the upper bracket. RSG didn't. Everybody was was rooting for Echo. They know that RSG, they don't have it in them anymore.
And this was Irad's debut as a part of the main 5.
Exactly.
They just pulled him right out of the MDL.
Yeah. For the playoffs, right?
Yep.
So Irad,
and a lot of us were skeptical.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Who's this kid?
Yeah.
Well, he did perform well in MPLI prior to that season.
He did.
But then, come on. Of course, you would look for like Demon Kite or someone else.
Coach Panda, why? Why would you do this?
Yep. Lo and behold, Irad with the mechanics that was able to last and win against Echo.
That's right.
And I was actually the solo analyst there, and I can only hear the Tagalog broadcast, and Midnight was always saying mechanics. Yeah,
the mechanics.
Yeah, mechanics. So that's why, eventually the mechanic naturally came out.
Yep.
But even better was the post-game interview.
Exactly. How often can a player as young in the league as Irad step up and say, I'm going to spew some facts? I mean, he didn't say that, but that's the message, right? My mechanics are better than Carl. I'm better at Lancelot. What? You just said what?
People were just so like, are you sure?
Yep, right.
But it was an are you sure, but in a happy way.
Yeah.
It's like when he said that, it's like, man, props to this kid. It's more like, man, props to that kid, not like hey, that kid is over his head.
Yeah, it's less of how dare you and more of yo.
So exactly.
I fell in love with Irad immediately that night, and I knew we were onto something, especially since in the span of the next 72 hours, this rivalry bloomed.
Exactly.
This rivalry almost outshadowed everything that happened in the season.
Exactly.
In the span of 2 best of 5s, they told an epic.
Yep. And then, right after that, I think RSG had to win again. Echo had to win against another team. Probably to get to meet them again.
Yeah.
I think it was
AP Brand. Or Brand Sports at the time, yeah.
And then Carl Tizzy, being Carl Tizzy, we expected no less from the man with a very sharp sword and a very sharp tongue.
Yeah, dude.
He said one of the biggest comeback ever that even thinking about it now, I'm still having goosebumps.
To me, it lives in my head rent free. Yes. Everything that these two gentlemen slung at each other, man, still in my head, regardless of what happened in the past year.
Exactly. Carl Tizzy says, be careful who you talk or who what's that? The last guy who challenged me had to rest.
Yeah, the last guy who stood up to me the way you did took a break.
Yeah, there it is.
And what's funny is
that's a better translation.
Yeah, what's funny is and what's amazing is throughout this whole debacle between Irad and Carl Tizzy, Demon Kite was in the building.
Yes.
And Mara got to talk to Demon Kite.
Yeah.
And Demon Kite gave his 2 cents.
Yep.
But just the same, that just adds fire to the flame, It's just
so much fire.
Fuel to the flame. But you know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, no. Because of Demon Kite being in the premises, the rivalry became realer.
Yep. And remember it just built up so much hype for the rematch.
An amazing best of 5.
Which was started, by the way, with our beautiful production putting up a graphic Remember that graphic?
Yeah, we okay. To be fair, we were playing around with the idea of doing the "he's not that guy"
Yeah.
Direction that they pulled in the NBA.
It's like a Dylan Brooks thing.
Yeah,
I think, something like that.
but it would have downplayed and made the rivalry less legit.
But nobody saw that graphic in a bad way, actually.
Yeah, no.
Like, do you remember, like, people like spewing like?
I don't think they got the reference. Number one.
Yeah.
And we kind of tweaked it to make it closer.
Exactly.
Because truth be told, if you put up Carl Tizzy's resume against Irad's at that time, it would be
it's like
night and day.
It will be night and day. To be fair, like production only put up like
the stats that
the stats that matter at that time.
yeah.
But if you really tally what Carl Tizzy was able to achieve, that's got to be even a longer list.
Yeah.
And nobody like reacted badly to that graphic.
No, because we were all invested in this rivalry. This
Exactly.
is real. They are as close to 50-50 as it gets.
Yeah. And then they play another 5-game series, right?
Yep.
Which was, thank you so much.
Until
for that.
game 5,
Until game 5.
either could have come through.
That was one of the best rivalries. Like I said, like the best 10 games. Straight.
And that's not even the ending for me. I don't know. Does the rivalry end there for you? Does
Not
the
yet.
story end?
Because there was that.
Okay, that was the post game of that game 5.
Yeah.
When Carl Tizzy won, he went up to the middle, laid down, right?
Laid down. Yeah, he laid down like
Very creative pop off.
Yep.
And Irad could not respond because Irad respectfully won. Irad took the L and moved on, became a better player.
All right.
That's why he's still with us season 12.
That's right.
But here's the thing. To me, it doesn't end there. To me, it ended and lived through in my head after Carl Tizzy won season 11. Because I swear, as soon as Mara gets to the post-victory interview, Carl Tizzy, you finally won another championship. What do you have to say? All right, this is Carl Tizzy's second championship now?
Technically third?
Second, third?
Technically third because they won M4.
No, I mean season championship.
Season championship.
Second season championship, right?
That's right.
And
Second.
Carl Tizzy is one of the most decorated players in the league. So Carl Tizzy getting another one is a big deal, right?
That's right.
Mara goes, Carl Tizzy, you won season 11. What do you have to say? He could say 100 other things, but he said this. Rest well, Irad. He could have said, thank God. Thank you to the MPL community. Thank you to my team. He could have said so many other things. But the first thing that comes to his mind is, rest well, Irad. Come on. But then again, that's what made that moment Carl Tizzy. That's what made it his moment.
I know. Man, this is the best lore, honestly.
Right?
It's like somebody could have written this.
This is the equivalent of that amazing Netflix anime that only has 13 episodes, but you watch over and over and over again.
Man, what a trip. Thank you, Carlito. Thank you, Irad.
Never change, Carl.
Never change, Carl.
Irad, keep on grinding, man. You'll get there. I swear, I believe in you.
Oh, man. Wow. That was fun. That was fun.
Right?
That was fun. But, there were other rivalries that you mentioned here. Maybe the next one is Rebo versus Weiss, which is like a mini.
Yeah. This happened in season 11 as well.
Season 11, that's right.
This was because of an exchange of words between the two. And this was a time wherein Rebo was in the MDL, but wasn't playing as often as he could have.
That's right.
And the latter actually slung a few words during a post-match interview.
Right.
Saying, was it season 10 or season 11?
It was 11.
Season 11.
I think it all started when I think Mara asked Rebo, like Rebo was watching. Mm-hmm. So it was an insider.
Yeah, he was in the audience.
In the audience, and Mara was like, who do you think is the team that
should improve?
Yeah, or something like the team that kind of didn't meet the expectations.
There
or
you
like,
go.
And it was like, well, honestly, like Rebo being Rebo, one of the old G's, you know, he basically said it should be blacklist because, well, his point is blacklist record from the previous season compared to that season is worse, right? Mm-hmm. Or the latter was better, something like that. So it's like, they blacklist. Then Weiss answers something like,
at least I'm still here.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Yeah,
Which is a very cold /fire comeback.
Yeah, so that exchange was an exchange that you would only really be invested in if you knew the history, and
That's right.
you were there to see the heyday of both of them.
Yep.
So that was a bit for me, and I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was very short lived, but
Yeah.
just the same, it was very intense.
It was very intense back then. Yeah.
Oh, these are two of the biggest names in the history of this game.
Yeah.
Oh, where could this go? But it kind of mellowed out.
Yeah, mellowed out. And the thing is, like, I mean, Rebo, it's just Rebo being Rebo. He's straight up guy.
He's very honest.
Very honest. Like, ask him a question, he's gonna answer. Something like that. Yeah. There's that. The next on your list is Hack of Venus, and I believe was season 7.
Yes, when they figured out that, hey, this player really only likes a certain kind of player, kind of hero to accommodate a certain play style.
Yep.
Did not work, obviously.
Did not
The
work.
very first in the history of our esport, I think.
Yep.
We've started to see again slowly Haka Kairi, Haka Sensui recently, Haka Hades. But yeah, no, it was all started by Oh My Venus.
Which, I mean, like, I think that this is something that we don't need to explain to people, basically, because we already know what that means. What I like about it is that it just proves that MLBB is not a game where a single player can carry.
Not in that sense, yeah.
Not in that sense, right? It will never be like that. And even if you target ban someone, it's not a valid strategy.
Yeah, but to me, there's that. Also, the reason why I think it's such heavy lore is because it just proved how Blacklist's success at the time wasn't solely off of the hero pool. Wasn't solely off of the fact that they're one of the teams that are prolific with the support utilities.
Yep.
If we take that away, can we win? Is it an automatic dub? No, it's not. They have more in the tank, and they are going to dominate the game for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And again, that's what if you see a line that you can draw across all of these favorite points of mine in lore is they all led to something else. They all branched out into other stories that make our league and our story more rich.
Yeah.
So that's why that's there.
Oh, take note of that, kids, because it's very important. Hack of Venus happened, and it made us realize a lot of stuff about esports in general and MLBB in general, which even makes whatever stories we tell today even more interesting.
Yeah.
Right. So, speaking of, there's this Oras Na, which is it's now time, or quote unquote, it's time to fire up. What's up with this?
Wow.
What's up with this?
All right, you're going to put me on blast. I have to preface this with I'm a big fan of Coach Pao with his work now, but at the time, it was very memeable.
Oh,
because
right.
of
I see now.
the vlog that was posted by the Hitman Renegade.
I see now.
Where there was a clip of Coach Pao very specifically saying,
it's time to fire up.
that's right, it's time. It's time to fire up. We have to stop losing.
Yeah.
And I hate to put you on blast. I'm not saying I blame you, bro, but it was Coach Zico started this all on social media. But again, it's funny because if you watch the vlog over and over again, that's what sticks out. It was a very well edited vlog, and I'm a big fan of the Hitman. That's no secret.
Yeah.
But again, even I as a viewer, that's what I remember, even before Zico pointed it out. So I'm like, yo, Coach Pao is an intense dude.
It was pretty intense.
That's why it's in my lore.
Yeah. Well,
Season 10.
Which is very important still. I think Zico is no longer part of Next Play back then, was it?
He was... No.
It was not anymore part of it.
They did not coincide, not like that, not in that timeline.
But that
what
was
Zico doing then? He was in Burn X Flash already.
Burn X Flash, that's right. Because it was Coach Pao's team back then.
Yes.
And I think what made that video kind of raise some eyebrows that NXP they were still next play Eagles. They were losing badly.
It was difficult.
It was very difficult their situation.
They missed out on playoffs.
Yep, that's correct. So that happened.
I think the title of the vlog was The Survival.
The Survival. Yeah. Because I think that they needed to win the rest of
everything.
Their games. They have to win everything. Unfortunately, they didn't, and that was why it was memeable. I don't know if it's okay for me to bring this up, but one of the more important pieces of lore here is that like a year afterwards, which is just happened just recently, when Zico's team
beat Coach Paus in the regular season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the story here is, here's the thing, right? Zico's team they have a bad record.
You know what? You're sugarcoating. Team Secret was in a rut.
Yeah,
Team Secret barely won anything, man.
Yeah.
Team Secret was...
I think it was actually their first victory. Or first series victory, probably.
Cannot confirm. They've won games, yes.
Yeah.
But their first series win, and this was when Zico went up to the booth and go like, yeah, see? So that explains it, folks. For those of y'all in MPL MY that don't know, or I'm pretty sure our friends in MPL MY have built it up. You know,
they probably know.
They told parts of the story to help, support why Coach Zico and Coach Power are intense rivals. But I don't know if they've done so to this extent.
Yeah.
Wherein they've gone to the relevant social media groups wherein Coach Zico would sling that around.
Yep.
Even on his own page, personal page even, he's done that. So they go that deep.
By the way, he's not stopping, so...
Still on?
I think, specifically Zico, you know.
All right.
You know the guy. I mean,
I
we love you, Zico.
I love him to bits, man. But, when it's time to fire up. So that's why it's there. It's time.
It's time
We
to fire
can't
up.
lose anymore. So you guys can watch it. It's on Ren and Jay's YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken. The Survival. Look it up. Yep.
Now we're down to the last one, which is the Aura Echo Super Team.
Oh,
which is
yeah,
also
yeah,
a very
yeah.
important time in this timeline because, well, at least for you,
Yep.
Trimar was there.
Yes, my
Which is
boy.
great, your boy. And it was one of the most expensive moves ever.
Yep.
And this is a time where you have to understand, like in season 6 or 7, perhaps, when there was a big trade between like Kyrie, VYs, back then, not every team has a strict buyout clause.
The
or contract.
infrastructure wasn't as established.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And only a few teams actually has that kind of infrastructure. So now when Echo did it, it was at the time where buyouts were at,
It was the Wild West.
it was a wild west. So everybody has buyout clauses now, heading to season 9, and people were getting expensive.
Yep. This
by the
was December of 2021.
minute. Yep.
It was in the wake of the roster moves for the likes of Baloy, for the likes of Yelly Hayes.
That's right.
For the likes of, you saw it now, Carl Teasy.
That's right.
And the reason why it's such important lore for me was because it happened during the offseason and it affected the landscape of MLBB esports, not just in the Philippines, but around the world. Because this showed that, hey, if you throw enough money at a problem, anything is possible, and you can make a super team.
Yep.
And the lesson on the other end of that is maybe not.
Maybe not.
Because they fell off round 1
Yep.
in the playoffs of season 9.
But they made waves because the first leg of season 9.
They were hot.
I think they only lost like one. They might have not even lost a game.
They were white hot.
It was the Echo Express.
Yes, that was the first showing of the Echo Express.
That's right. And the thing is, they were winning games very dominantly. Yep. But then again, they started losing when there was a patch. So that
couldn't
actually
catch up. Yeah.
that was actually the thing, right? Where Chu, SDCYZ, invented that utility jungler, and everybody just followed.
Say what you will about people from Myanmar doing it, like Ken with his Tank Lancelot. The first real showing of Tank Lancelot was from Daniel Chu.
Yeah, and Chu. I think literally it probably was Ryzen who first did it, but Chu was doing it on a different hero, the tank build on a different hero.
Yeah.
But he was definitely that jungle emblem.
Yeah.
He was the first one to abuse it.
Yes.
And then came the patch, leg 2.
Yeah.
Nobody else could keep up. The only teams that were able to keep up were RSG.
They were, bringing out Jungle Cho.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then TNC. Unfortunately, there was TNC's play, apart from the utility jungler, was also the jungle reset. Remember?
Yeah.
It was the Bentings.
Lolita,
Lilia.
Franco. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, if not resetting your jungle, living in it with the Lolita Lilia,
exactly.
like couldn't stop it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was the time where, unfortunately they weren't able to get through. But anyways, the point is, yeah, you can build a super team, but it might work.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's an automatic win because they lost
Yes.
against Omega.
Yeah, it was more of the impact of it out of the game.
Yeah.
Because in game, yeah, sure, for the first half, you guys were unstoppable, but this is off of the back of the amazing PR and just reputation that they built off.
That's right.
Because if I'm not mistaken, this was the roster reveal wherein it was an action film.
Right, with a
Suits.
denim jacket.
And the
what was
suits.
it?
The denim jacket, bro, was the season
Photo shoot. It was a
10.
photo shoot,
Yes,
yeah.
this was the K-pop.
Right.
Sorry, the boys drama
That's right,
approach.
that's right.
Yeah, when they were at an all-time
Yeah.
young,
Right.
across the board roster. But the season 9 roster had, I'm not saying your old Chan, but it had Raflesia,
Yeah.
it had Kilowash, it had
Mangkepwe.
so it was the all-star
It was
lineup.
all-star. Yeah, everybody like you said. If you throw enough money, you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
It's just that I think that they weren't able to get players from Onyx as well as Blacklist, just because the roster shuffle kind of happened while M3 was happening, and you're practically
They're off.
They're quite off. So you cannot get them. But yeah, imagine what they were able to do. But I think it's very important to take note that happened because it wasn't surefire that it would work. Which, by the way, it was first attempted in season 5. If you're
Brenny
not aware,
Sports.
it was Brenny Sports,
Yep.
because what essentially Brenny Sports did was to absorb the
SEA Games gold medal winning lineup.
exactly with few Carl TZ, basically those two, Lusty as well,
Yeah.
which was Archangel back then. The group of them all together.
And Rebo was there anyways.
Rebo was there anyways. Season 5, they also lost.
Yeah. And this is off of the back of, all right, this is a superstar team. We need someone with an iron fist to take care of it.
Yep.
Coach Leathergoods, go buy him a rice cooker.
Yeah.
You know the story?
That was Ducky, right?
Yeah. So
Was it the rice cooker or was a pan?
one or the other?
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah, so the little bit of story was this. Again, this is a secondhand story that was told
Yeah.
to me years ago. I'm just telling y'all from memory. I'm not even sure if that stream is still up somewhere.
Yeah.
But the joke goes, while Coach Leathergoods was part of Brenny Sports then coaching management staff,
Yeah.
the bosses were like, yo, go recruit Ducky. We
Yeah.
need him for this superstar team.
Yep.
Okay, how do I get him here? Ask him what he wants.
Yeah.
And then Coach Ducky says, I want a frying pan or I want a
Yeah.
rice cooker, one or the
Yeah.
other. It's
Yeah.
like, you got it. That's literally what he gave him when he got in.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was just hilarious.
That was hilarious. And that, we've built a very good tome or dossier of good stories.
And this is barely scratching the, surface. There's an MPL lore iceberg. There's an MLBB lore iceberg.
Man, I dare you right now, maybe start whenever, but do still write, at least some bullet points. Maybe
More,
eventually
yeah.
get a book, write a book, whatever. Make a dossier about this because this is amazing. And I love that we are talking about it because it really brought me up to memory lane. And not only that, there's important lessons that we had to learn about it. Like whatever happened back then has a straight up significance on whatever is happening here right now that we are living in. And I'm sure that in the next 10 seasons, we're going to develop more stories.
Yep.
I hope you and I are still there. Hopefully.
I'll do everything in my power to stay.
Very well then. That's
Someone's gotta carry you when you got spasms, man.
Yep. Man. Yeah, so that was 2019. That was 4 years ago.
Give or take.
Give or take. Yeah. Let's see next year if that will happen.
I mean, I'm not expecting for you to get sick. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we have nice one now. Never mind. Nice one
You're still
carry you,
near.
too.
You're still nearby my place.
I'm nearer your place. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Fate has a way. Fate has a way.
Kidding aside, that has been some of the most important lore in the world of MPL Philippines, and I do hope that you enjoyed the trip with us because I did. And I wonder what do you have going on? Because maybe in the next few weeks, people will watch this and they'll see the most immediate thing that you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Maybe in 5 years when they look back at this video, maybe it won't matter as much, but I do want to ask you what have you got going on, and maybe you can invite the people to see where you're going.
No, definitely. If you're watching this in the immediate future, check out M5. That's definitely where you can see all the action. Again, hopefully we write more bits of lore there.
Yep.
If you watch this closer to the immediate future, like very recently, if this gentleman over here gets to editing faster, check out MPLI. We'll both be there, and we'll be covering different fronts of the competition, and hopefully there will be more lore there as well.
Yep.
If you're watching this far into the future, hopefully it's on the same URL. You can check out leocast.ph. That's the website. I don't know what kind of stuff you'll see there by then.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's still about MLBB sports. And hopefully we'll have more bits of content like this.
Yeah.
And maybe the book will be there. Maybe you can buy it. Maybe there'll be a discount code.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe. Oh, wait. There's actually one thing that I want to really bring up real quickly, because I saw some bits of one thing that really made me shiver with goosebumps.
Shiver with goosebumps.
The Madrigal Project is back?
Yes.
What about that? Can you tell us some details?
This is another side of it's a different kind of book that I can write on this one.
Yeah.
It's basically a free. It's always gonna be free forever. Talent development initiative. I don't want to call it a program. I don't want to call it an institution or workshop, because that brings up different kinds of expectations.
Right.
But basically, what it is a group of broadcasters sharing and teaching about what we do to a group of aspiring young talents, so that they can maybe some way somehow follow in our footsteps. Wolf has been part of previous waves. He's spoken, shared his own little bits about being a gift to your co-talents. And a lot of the people we work with now would not be there if for not that speaking engagement, right?
That's right.
OSX was a clear recipient of such a talk.
Yep.
People from other esports as well, you know.
Yeah. Beam.
Yep. Beam from Farlight. Beef
BK.
Mommy from Call of Duty Mobile.
Yeah.
Burger Kim. Honey Glaze from the VCT.
That's
right. Speaking of VCT talents, folks from the FPS world, we've worked with the likes of the Mods.
Yeah.
They have been prominent figures in the Madrigal Project. Limerick.
Duno was there.
Duno was there, yes. Very thankful to have had him part of the program before his passing. We miss you forever. Limber Pineda, Nomad, was a coach at some point.
Right.
So he's had a hand in building the next generation. So it's basically that. It's a free teaching program that shares what we know with the next generation, so that they can be better than us. They can have a better future in this industry.
As of this recording, we are now heading to Wave 4, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. It's another group. It's another handful group of talents that we'll be looking for. Spanning. I'll try to focus on Metro Manila now. Because we want to make it an immediately activatable group. Okay. And we will do it more in person. Yep. And let's see who comes through. Let's see in a couple of months, in a few years maybe, who will shine through Wave 4. Yep.
And I do hope that you continue. I do hope that now, I don't know, maybe this is the far future where it's wave number 25 or something.
If you're watching this through AR.
Yep. Yep. That's true. Hello. And I do hope that there's more success to that. And it is already very successful, but I know that, it will be bigger in the future. We send you energy for that specifically. But that's it for the podcast. Thank you so much, Mr. Dan Kabangay, aka Leo. One of the most important.
Thank you.
This is the outro. And thank you to the two-time best English caster of MPL, Leo. That's it for the podcast. Goodbye.